Yo, yo, yo. We are here. We are live. It is Thursday at 7:30. Welcome to Sunday Concessions Fantasy Podcast.
Let's
My name
go.
is Caleb. Joined here with me is Cameron. Cam, how you feeling?
I feel great, man. We were
Feel
just
good?
talking on the other podcast on Tuesday about getting a haircut. I know you went and got a haircut, and
We
we
did.
both have had bad haircut experiences. They got me right, bro. They got me right. This
You
Jones,
look good.
I feel good, man. I
Do a
feel good.
360. Do a 360. Let me
Oh,
see.
hold on.
Oh, oh, oh.
My bad.
Hold on now, man. Sit down. Um, you also have a new backdrop, I see.
Yeah,
That
you
looks
like
so
this?
clean.
Ding,
That is
ding,
so
ding.
nice. You've been doing
And
some work.
please, if anybody's watching, don't judge it. Don't be looking at how straight it is, because I tried really hard to get it as straight as possible, and that was not working very well. It
Mm,
the hooks on the back of the portrait were uneven, and I didn't find that out till I put the anchors in. But yeah, my wife got those for me for my birthday, and I think it looks super clean.
that's
So
sweet. I
we're
love it.
upgrading,
Good
baby.
stuff. Well, Cam, it's a new year, new season, new look for us. We
Wait,
kind of
wait,
already
wait, wait,
talked
wait,
about
wait, wait.
that.
Hold on. We're not blazing past this.
What?
Haircut. Look, you got a new
Oh,
haircut. Come on, bruh.
man,
Let's see.
I switched it up a little bit. I
Tell
switched
us
it up
about
a
it.
little bit. Wow, it was a very stressful moment. I went to the guy I've been going to the past like 3 to 5 years. Great guy. Shout out Andrew. Great
Shout out
work.
Andrew.
Love what you do. Um, but I had an initial
Mhm.
idea in my mind, and then kind of realized I wasn't going to work with like my style of hair, so I had to like switch over to a different style. And like this isn't exactly what I wanted to go with because I really don't want to have like that basic like TikTok high school boy haircut. Um, but I feel like that's what I got.
This is
Uh,
what you get.
this is what I get. I was unprepared and I didn't know what I wanted. I can't let it happen again.
Never again. Yeah, I
Never
mean,
again.
a barber is a precious thing to have, and if you
Yeah.
have a good one, keep them close, because
Yeah. If
yeah,
anyone knows any good barbers in the Richmond area, I'm always willing to try something new. You
yeah,
know,
girl, yeah,
that'd be
girl.
sweet. That'd be sweet. Um, anyways, like I was saying, we're looking a little different as anyone from the old fantasy channel used to watch would know. This is a little bit different a setup. But doesn't take from how excited we are. It's going to be good stuff. We're going to be covering everything fantasy every single Thursday, tentatively 7:30 p.m. live. We want to hear everything you guys have to say, questions, trades, whatever you got, please. We love debating. We love talking. Love interacting with you guys. So please bring it on.
Yeah,
Um,
bring it on. All your toughest questions. This was like one of the best shows from last year with the fan feed pod,
yeah,
Rip. And we're excited to bring it back because I think a lot of people really appreciated some of the stuff. And I think we want to have a lot of guests on. And
for sure.
guests, we'd love to get some more people in the space of fantasy football, but even friends of ours, other people who think differently about the game, because everybody plays it a little differently, and it's fun to hear everybody's approach to fantasy football, dynasty, all those things. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Yeah, that's the best thing about fantasy football, man, is every single person you meet's opinion is different. Um, not a single one is wrong because we just don't know until we get into the
Oh,
season. Um, but I guess first I wanted to start at Cam. I think I know the answer to this question, but I'm not sure. But when did you first start playing fantasy, and why did you start playing fantasy football?
all right. So it was, I think this was 2006. I think that was the year that Adrian Peterson came out of college and joined the NFL. And forgive me if I'm wrong. Somebody can fact check me. But yeah, when AP came out, I remember the church that we were going to had like church fantasy leagues. Um, and I'll never forget, like, I used to read like stat books all the time. Like I just had big like the 2005 Big Book of Stats, and it was all sports, and I just sit there and read it at night. So I knew
Wow.
like a ton of players and a lot of like stats for each of the players. But Adrian Peterson was always someone I loved because he had the same birthday as me and all this stuff.
Nice.
So yeah, joined the church league, and I told my dad because we drafted a team together. 2006, I would have been 12 years old. And I was like, we got to draft this guy, Adrian Peterson. And of course, my dad, like, he follows football, but he didn't know like a ton about fantasy football. He said, all right, let's get him. So we got Phillip Rivers in the first round and Adrian Peterson in the second round. And everybody was like, who? What? Why
Woo!
him? What in the
What
world
a
is coming off
start.
ACL injuries? And man, he balled out that year. I think he sat out the last like 4 games or 6 games. He had another pretty bad injury, but it was awesome. Like that had me hooked. Like finding that guy. I think the year after, one of the other guys in the church tipped me off about Randall Cobb. He was like, "Don't tell nobody, but Randall Cobb's gonna be a boss." And it was Randall Cobb's like first year, and sure enough, he was a dog. So like I just loved the competition and finding like these like players that nobody else was looking at, and kind of that feeling of being the smartest one in the room. Even though I really wasn't. Just sometimes when you get a player right, it does make you feel like, yeah, I really know this.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that was
Yeah.
my first time. What was your first
Man.
league?
I had quite a different first year from you. It was actually the same fantasy draft at the same church,
Uh-huh.
because we are related and we grew up
Yup.
together.
Yup.
Crazy. Anyways, someone was supposed to be there as a part of the draft, and he didn't make it. So they're like, "Man, we're like one guy down. It's like a 10-man league, so 9 guys." My dad's like, "Well, I got my other son with me." I'm over there like, "Hello," like 8 years old.
Hello.
Didn't know what I was doing. Didn't really know a whole lot about football. I'd watched a couple Pittsburgh games with, my dad, and all I knew was like Hines Ward and James Harrison. But
Such good players.
yeah, I can't remember who I took first round. All I know is that I took Chris Johnson with my next pick
Mm,
for the Tennessee Titans,
mm.
and it just so happened to be the year that he was holding out for more money and
Oh,
decided to hurt everybody's feelings and break a lot of hearts and piss a
pain.
lot of people off. And that's when I was like, yeah, I don't want to play this anymore.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
I was like, yeah, I'm out, bro. No more, no more.
I'm inish with this.
But I also came back and I got Percy Harvin.
Oh
That was a sweet pick. That was fun.
God, what a player he could have.
Oh, I know. So fun to watch. That was sweet. Sidney Rice was another one that I got. Love
Wow,
Sidney Rice. But it was
I
even at
bet.
a young age, as a young kid, as much as I didn't have much of a patience to watch football, I did love to sit down and be like, "Oh, which guy's mine, Dad?" And he'd point him out to me, and I'd watch the whole game watching that guy play, and
Yeah,
emotions would just be up here or down here, whatever was going on. So frustrated when he wasn't getting the ball, and now here we are over 20 years later, and not a whole lot has changed.
yeah,
Um,
right. It's still pain.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But I
You can
would
do.
say that my fantasy career didn't start taking off until I got serious about fantasy.
Mm.
And Cam, I know you've heard this from everybody, but as soon as they see the guys like us who do off-season research and like looking into the rookies and like looking at
Oh yeah,
statistics and getting these underground guys like, oh my gosh, you're a try hard. Oh wow, fantasy guru over here. Oh.
hey, let's check out this guy.
Yeah, well, they hate us because we ain't us.
Yeah,
But
amen.
I guess that's the one thing I want to go through right now is like, why do we do this research? Why do we even take the time to study these players who we've never even met, never, hopefully might meet one day, but probably won't ever meet? Um, why does it give us an edge? What's the benefit to it? Why is it worth it? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think if you boil it down, fantasy football is a hobby, and there's people that go in, do it for the money. I don't really do it for the money. It's great to win money. But more so than anything, it's about the hobby aspect. It's a kind of a way to, separate from like normal life, which can be extremely hard, and allow yourself to have like an outlet. But then with the research part, like not everybody's going to do that, right? And you do have to have a level of curiosity about it. But what I would say to people, if you don't research already, or you just are a casual player, really the research is so fun, and it helps you understand football better, and it helps that like on Sundays you're not just watching one team. Like that was the hardest part for me was, I was a Steelers fan growing up, and so obviously the Steelers won a lot of games and that was awesome, but the weeks that we did lose, it was just like, well, there's no point in watching any more football. And especially like when it came to the playoffs, because we were pretty atrocious in the playoffs. Once we were knocked out, there wasn't really anything to pay attention to. But now, with all the research stuff that you can do, and it's really not research. Like we say research, like it's this big
make it sound like
thing.
homework or something.
It's really just I drive to work, I listen to different podcasts, people talking about whether it's analytics of fantasy football, whether it's just watching the film of players. You just get to know the players more, and you start to understand the stories, and it makes it way more enjoyable. So now, like, I mean, I could go through any kind of story, but rooting for like Philip Lindsay to run a 30-yard touchdown and the fourth quarter of a Broncos game back 5, 6, 7 years ago, whenever that was, you're not going to be doing that if you're just a casual fan. But when you're into fantasy football and you've been researching and understanding stuff, you're like, oh dude, like come on, I need Philip bad. So it to me, it's just become a part of my routine where I listen to a lot of podcasts. I really love it, from all different backgrounds, but the fantasy ones, I think, help me understand the game of football more. It goes throughout the summer now because of best ball leagues and dynasty leagues, especially with the incoming rookie class. Like I could care less about the draft, just for team purposes, but really just understanding the players as they come in, and it helps you stay up to date with all of it. So really, that's, I guess, why research give you edge.
I think we're breaking up a little bit.
Did I go out?
You and your cheesehead service.
Yeah, I got that McDonald's Wi-Fi. My bad.
No, that's really good stuff.
Yeah, so that's basically how I view it, is that it's just helps the entertainment portion of it, and does help you win. It really does.
For sure.
I'm routinely in the playoffs in my fantasy leagues. Not trying to brag.
Exactly. It's not saying that like you have like the best chance of winning a championship every year, because at the end of the day, fantasy football is like so unpredictable. We just never know. I mean, nobody was projecting JSN to be the top fantasy asset last year. We just never know. And that's the beauty of it, is we can do all this research and listen to all these analytics, and it gets us a little closer, but we'll never truly be there.
Yeah.
But I mean, to add to all that too is like, what feels more accomplishing and like more fun than just absolutely destroying your friends and family and church members in a made up game, and you get to gloat that you are smarter and that you knew better than them.
That's right.
I don't know.
It's the best feeling ever.
My first ever fantasy football league win was with a different church, and the pastor and the pastor's son were so cocky and arrogant, man, and they were making fun of every single pick that I made, and I went on to just destroy it that year. And that was the most satisfying thing. No money, no nothing. Just the fact that I was more knowledgeable than they were when it came drafting a fantasy football team. And you know what? That was enough for me.
It's such a good feeling. Yeah, it's incredible. And the other thing with research is that it doesn't really, at the end of the day, fantasy football is a game of luck. It will give you more of an edge throughout the season, because you'll know some of the players on waiver wire. You'll understand how to build your team through the draft, different things like that. But at the end of the day, it's all luck. and I've played against some people who just did not care about fantasy football and just drafted whoever, and they ended up winning. So, that's kind of the fun and the frustration with it.
Yep. Yep.
Live and die by the
Exactly.
sword.
Exactly. Um, anyways, though, that's good stuff. Kind of just wanted to get your thoughts on everything fantasy, how you look at it, and that's just like scraping the surface, obviously. But over the next months, years, who knows? We're going to keep going deeper and deeper into our
Yeah.
thought processes, how we like to draft, the guys we like to target, um, you know, trading, free agent pickups, everything. Currently, right now, we are going to be going over a lot more dynasty content, seeing it's the off season, and we got a little bit more time to prepare for the regular season. And we're going to cover regular season fantasy football leagues, but for the time being, we're going to be very dynasty focused, like you said. Coming up on the draft, this is like Christmas time for dynasty football.
Yeah, and real quick, just in case people don't know, because this is a Dynasty 101 show. Like,
hmm
there may be some people who don't know what Dynasty is. So, really, Dynasty Fantasy Football is just it's regular fantasy football, except you keep your team year after year, and you also end up having rookie draft picks. Um, it really has become my preferred way of playing fantasy football. I don't know about you. Is that your favorite way to play fantasy football?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Takes a lot
Yeah.
more talent, skill, and just withal, and it's just so much more inclusive. Love it.
Well, and it's so much fun because you get to build your own team,
Right.
and you get to build the team how you want. So it is really like stepping in and becoming like a GM of an NFL team. Like, we're not gonna glorify it and say, "Oh yeah, I'm GM level. The Giants should hire me." But it really does allow you to build your team the way you want to. You can tank fully. You can go draft all old players. You can, draft really young players. You can trade everything you have for Caleb Williams, which I've seen that happen. And it's just so much fun. And I highly, highly recommend to everybody who does play fantasy football and enjoys it. Try out a dynasty league. There's plenty of leagues up on Sleeper. Their website. You can go on Reddit and find a league. You can find leagues for as cheap as like $10 a year. And that way you can just kind of get your feet wet and understand it more. But yeah, I mean, Dynasty is just the way to go. And so, like Caleb said, that's what we're going to be talking about for the next few, weeks, probably months, probably get into some best ball stuff too, because I know Caleb hasn't done a whole lot of best ball, but I had started doing it last year and it's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
But the dynasty stuff is year round. There is no off season. That's the best part. There's always something to be doing in a dynasty league.
Always. 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 That's good. Yeah. I started my first dynasty league. I think it's been like 6 years now.
Yep.
And looking back at my draft just makes me cringe and just hurt so bad at what I did. But that's the beautiful thing about Dynasty is if you don't like your team, there are already always so many like moves and things you can do to
Yeah.
change it at any given moment. Um,
Yep.
and the way I kind of look at Dynasty, and this is very obviously there's different builds to teams and whatnot, but I look at kind of like three main builds as it comes to Dynasty. You have your tanking team, your winners team, and then your more productive tanking team.
Right.
And you can pick either one you want to do going into a dynasty draft. Maybe I'll let you go over them. So when you look at those, when you're looking at a dynasty draft, you're doing a startup dynasty. How are you viewing it? What kind of system are you trying to follow? And what is your thought process when you're going into these things?
Yeah. So real quick, just because you shared your first dynasty team, my first one was in 2018, and I got to share. I started off on fire. I drafted Saquon and Mike Evans, which was awesome back in 2018 because Mike Evans still had another 5 years of producing, and Saquon was a dog. But then I followed that up with Josh Gordon, R.I.P., our Lord and Savior, Flash.
Not good.
And
Not
then a
good
bunch
at
of guys
all.
like Kenyon Drake, Marvin Jones. Like, it's so wild. I did so bad in that draft and somehow placed third in the league and then tanked for the next like 3 years. Hooray. Yeah. So when it comes to drafting in a dynasty league, really, I never go into a dynasty league with a set strategy in mind but I do want to understand all the different strategies. And Caleb kind of went over them. One is the tanking team, where you're going to try to use your picks. In a lot of dynasty leagues, you can trade your draft selections. So instead of drafting your first round pick in the startup draft, you can trade that, and you can trade back and accumulate more picks in later rounds or future draft picks. And so you may want to do that. You can also go all in. So this is another strategy that a lot of people use in dynasty leagues is most people in dynasty tend to lean younger players. So there's a great value to draft older players. Guys who are still producing, but because they're older, people don't want to draft them because they get scared off in dynasty because they think, oh, I have to keep this guy for the next 10 years, which really isn't the case if you're an active trader. But that's a very viable strategy. And I've seen plenty of people win year one just because they took what fell to them and they end up with these super good teams with like Derrick Henry, Mike Evans, who's another old player, Devontae Adams, guys like that. So it's a very viable way to draft. Typically, my instinct when I go into a draft is something called a productive struggle. And this was a phrase termed by a guy named Ryan McDowell, I believe, who founded the Dynasty League football website. If you're ever curious and want to learn some more, it's a great website to go to. Check it out. But
Nice.
Yeah, so the productive struggle basically is you are building a good young core of good players, but you're also adding additional picks for the future so that you have a team that's actively growing, but it's going to tank maybe year one and get a lower or a higher draft pick. But it's built so strongly that you can you'll have a good team for the next few years. And I wonder, I could probably pick up a team that maybe I've drafted recently. How about this one from last year? Let's see. Can I go back to that? I'm trying to figure out if I can go back to that. Have you done the productive struggle, Cabes?
I have, yes. That's kind of more the scheme that I have been leaning towards and drafts that I've done in the past year and whatnot. Because like you said, it's sometimes it is scary and a little unknown, just going straight for the tank. You don't know what you're getting in rookie drafts. You're putting together picks. But the great thing about that is like the more picks you have in upcoming rookie drafts, the more like power you hold over the entire league. I
Right.
have learned that slowly and gradually, and I wish I caught on sooner. But it's just incredible as soon as like in the off season, or I guess during the season, people don't value those picks as much because they just want to win. Everybody wants that feeling of winning now, right?
That's
And
right.
it's so easy to take advantage of the market and just collect all these first round, second round, third round rookie draft picks. And people are like, they just throw them at you. It's great. And then
Yeah.
switch over, the rookie draft comes around and it just completely changes. Everybody wants a rookie pick. They start to do a little bit of research. Oh my gosh, Carnell Tate is so good. I have to have
Right.
Carnell Tate.
Right.
Jordan Love is so good. I have to have Jordan Love. And these people are just willing to pay way more than what you paid for originally for that draft pick. And so it's very cool to kind of have that power in your hands to really manipulate it. You can either hold on to those picks, flip the coin on drafting some guys, or you can flip them around and get some already solidified guys and start building your lineup from
Yep.
what it used to be. I think in my first dynasty league, I tanked the first year because it was so bad because I drafted Russell Wilson and Najee Harris.
Pain.
It was bad. But I was amazed at how many first round picks I could get. And
Mhm.
it came to the draft. I think I had like 5 first round picks. This was the 2022 draft, I want to say,
Okay.
with
Yeah, I think it was.
Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, guys like that.
Yep.
Um, and yeah, I think I had like 3 top 5 picks. I think I used all 3 picks and got Garrett Wilson, Drake London. Third one didn't do too well. I got Treylon Burks.
Oh, Trayvon.
Crap. But I
Luns.
had 2 later round picks and I flipped them. And I think for those picks, I got DK Metcalf and someone else, which
Yeah.
looking back, it's like DK Metcalf, really, dude. DK Metcalf was more of a stud and was looking good.
Right.
I just made the wrong call there. Could have done something better with it. But anyways, that's the whole thing with doing the tank and whatnot. Like I was saying, with the productive struggle going in, taking these younger studs who are just first year, second year, third year, whatever it may be, they still have a lot of upside. The good thing about these young guys is there's always someone in the league um, that likes them, even if they
Yeah,
had a rough start to their career. And you can
exactly.
always figure out how to flip them and get value. All it takes is like that one game. Another,
Yeah,
for instance, I grabbed Will Levis, and he was not looking good. But then he came in that one game and threw 4 touchdowns, and all of a sudden I've
right,
got 3 guys who want Will Levis from me.
right.
Um,
Yeah,
and you act quick, you trade off Will Levis, you get the value for him, what you
yep.
use to get him, maybe plus whatever it is, and then keep moving on.
Yeah,
Um, but
yeah,
it's just so many different things, and I guess that's the other thing I wanted to cover is like reacting to your league mates,
right.
reacting to the market, because as we know, fantasy football can be so like in the now focused and driven.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so how would you say
yeah.
is a good way to like stay grounded, to not sway with the emotion of the market and what's going on currently, and to react at the according times to continue fortifying your team, building a strong lineup,
Yeah.
and also looking towards the future?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was talking about when we were saying like, never come into your draft with a set strategy in mind.
Yep.
Obviously, like I tend to default to the productive struggle just because it's a proven strategy that helps you build a really good team for multiple years, not just one quick year. But there are times when you do have to adjust. And so I think having an understanding and a knowledge of the different strategies and sticking to it is the big thing. So I actually joined a startup last year and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. And honestly, it was with a bunch of other people, and some of their draft picks early on were making me feel like, okay, I don't really think these guys know ball. So I was going to try to compete. But then the trade offers started like flying in my inbox. And as soon as the trade offers started coming in, I was like, okay, now I've got a bunch of offers on the table, and this is a perfect time to, perform the productive struggle. Give up first, second round picks and gain additional picks later on. That team, I gave up my first and second round pick, which ended up being Justin Jefferson and Justin Herbert. And a lot of people in Dynasty would never want to give up a guy like Justin Jefferson or even a Herbert. They're solid cornerstone players for your team. But I ended up getting like how many picks? Six or seven picks within the rounds 5 through 7, as well as 3 future first in 2026 and 3 future first in 2027.
Golly.
And so I worked it, and I ended up with a team of like, let's see, it was Xavier Worthy, Lad McConkey, Travis Hunter, Colston Loveland, Emeka Ibuka, Luther Burden, Jackson Dart, and Cam Ward. That was the young core of my team.
Wow.
So a bunch of young guys, unproven. Nobody really knew what if they were going to be good. But I had a ton of first round picks, and it ended up working out really well for me because a couple of those guys like Luther Burden, Emeka Ibuka, Harold Fannin, all performed really well. Jackson Dart looked to be a starter in the league and a high quality starter. I think he's typically ranked in the top 10 of most dynasty rankings now at the quarterback position.
Nice.
But on top of those young guys, I now have, 6 future firsts to continue building this team. And so that strategy is just undefeated. But yeah, never go into a draft with a set plan in mind because, I could have joined that draft and everybody wanted to do the productive struggle. And when everybody's doing the productive struggle, then you're not really getting that edge. You have to find an edge elsewhere. And so, yeah, just understanding your draft room and feeling comfortable enough to pivot when everybody else is zigging, you zag. I think is the number one way I view it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge. And I can tell you one thing that I struggle with is when it comes to my pick, and there are guys that I have just emotionally just put everything into
oh,
and
it's
want
hard.
so badly, man.
It's
And
so
like you
hard.
said, the trade offers come in, and then my mistake is I start to emotionally drive up the value of my pick and the player that I want, more so to where I can't even see the value of the trade that I'm being sent.
Right.
Um,
Right.
and so that is just one thing, man. I've had a couple guys, but like Garrett Wilson is just one of my favorite receivers in the league. I love Garrett Wilson. I think he's, you know, top in the receiving core as far as talent goes.
He's so
Um,
good.
the problem is
So good.
though, it's like his situation sucks every
Yeah.
year. And am I going to keep waiting every single year until it finally happens and it's Garrett Wilson's year? Um, or like you
Right.
said, am I going to pivot, um, take advantage of my league mate who also has the same emotional feelings that I have, and get value and move on and start over and find my other Garrett Wilson per se or someone else? Um, so that's a good point. It's difficult. I don't know why, but it's tough, and I still struggle with it. Um,
It-
so I guess, sorry, go ahead. What were you about to say?
Sorry, I don't know why my AirPods keep like cutting out, and I think it cuts my whole like stream down. So um, I was
Come
just
on,
saying, yeah,
bro.
I was agreeing with you.
We're supposed to be back, and here you
I
are
know we were
with
supposed to
these
be back, and look at
problems.
me. Oh
Look
well,
at you. I mean, what are we gonna do with you for real? What are we gonna
fire
do?
me, cut my pay in half.
Um, I know, and I think that's one thing we forgot to mention actually. Now thinking about it, so what is your preferred Dynasty League setup? So, what kind of like starting lineup do you like? Do you like the super flex? Do you like single QB? Um,
Yeah.
tight end premiums. Like, what's the difference? Why do you like one more than the other? Um,
Yep.
break those down.
Superflex has become the new, like almost the default for most dynasty leagues at this point. I would say a lot of redraft leagues are one quarterback, and what's happened is the value of quarterback has kind of disappeared in those leagues. You can get a Jared Goff in the 12th round and be just a little bit worse than the guy who gets Josh Allen in round 5,
Yeah,
or even like a Patrick Mahomes in round like 8 or something. Sorry. Hold on. Can you hear me
she
when I
looking out
talk?
on you again. Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry. All right. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but it's your camera's a little delayed now with the audio.
Oh, beautiful. Okay. We're just going to keep going. Yeah. So, what was I saying? Superflex is my preferred way of playing. I like having two quarterbacks. It creates a, you know, greater need for strategy of how you're going to attack the quarterback position. It bumps the quarterback value up, and quarterback's the most important player on the field. So if it's the most important player in the NFL, it should be on our dynasty teams as well. I like tight end premium. Tight end premium is where you have uh, oh, and real quick, super flex means there's two quarterback spots in your starting lineup. Just because I don't think I said that.
Yep.
Tight end premium is typically an extra half point per reception for tight ends specifically. And that came from the fact that most tight ends are buns. And it makes the tight end position kind of obsolete when they only score 1 point per reception, same as receivers. A lot of teams you could win with having Tyler Higbee on your team. Just a not very good tight end. So tight end premium boosts the value. Really only boosts the value for the upper echelon of guys, the Trey McBrides, the Brock Bowers, but I still like it. Makes them more valuable. Yeah, and I just like deep benches, 20 plus spots on the bench, just because then you got to draft guys on your team who are like might not put on the NFL field, and I find that a lot of fun. It's nice that you have to make trades for guys like that if you really believe in them. So yeah,
That
I guess
was the most shocking thing for me when I first joined Dynasty, and so how long the draft was, and
yeah,
what the waiver wire looks like. I was like,
yeah,
oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Like,
yep,
are you kidding me? It was like I was panicking. Um, I started a Dynasty League with some of my close friends a couple years back, and they had never played before. We had this one guy in our league midway through the season. just leave this long message in the chat of Sleeper and was like, "What's going on, guys? Why are there no running backs I can pick up this week? Are you serious? You guys are just hogging all the running backs? I can't even get a third string out here." We're all like,
Yeah.
"Yeah,
It makes it hard because, like, real NFL, you can't just go to the waiver wire and pick up like a Kareem Hunt, like a good running back.
right,
You know, the guys on the waiver wire are cheeks in the NFL, and
yep,
so that's what I like about Dynasty is he does play more to the realism of fantasy football. That, like, now in Dynasty, you have to trade for a running back, and you might have to trade up something you like to get a running back. Or you could be sharp and be smart, and you can trade a third round pick for Bucky Irving, when he's going in the fourth round, his rookie year, because nobody really thought Bucky Irving was going to be good. There might have been a few
right,
that thought he was good, but
right,
yeah, I find that so fun.
yeah." It's such a blast.
And people can't get bailed out. You know what I mean? You can't just get
Exactly.
bailed out because you didn't have depth on your team. But, oh, look, there's, an all-star running back on the waiver wire because we have small benches. Like,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It makes
yeah,
it fair for everybody, and it really pronounces and gives all those later rounds of your dynasty draft so much more value and realize
right,
how important they are. That we're not just
right.
like picking guys with cool names. We're looking at depth charts on NFL teams, looking at what these late round guys bring to their team. Why are they different from the starting running back? What's the starting running back's been
Yeah,
looking like lately? Um, it's just so much, and that's why all your dynasty guys know the fifth string running back on every team, and you're
that's
like,
right.
why do you know that?
Yeah.
It's like, well,
Yep.
you never know.
Yep.
Uh, well, one other thing, Cam, I wouldn't tell this to you if we weren't doing a podcast, just so you know. So enjoy it now. I have always envied um, how well you are able to trade within dynasty leagues. Um, I will go to a manager and I feel like I'm offering a really good deal and can't make anything done. And then I see that you've made 18 different trades with everybody in the league. And it's trades for like all-star players or just low-end players. It seems like you usually get a good deal on stuff. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why is everyone more apt to trade with you
Right.
opposed to me? What am I doing wrong? So what are your thoughts? How do you make this happen?
Yeah. This is probably the hardest part about Dynasty is because it does require you to do a little bit of hustling. Yeah, just because somebody puts a player on the trade block and you send them an offer doesn't mean they're going to accept. And most likely they're going to reject your first offer, because that's what they should do. If that's what they're willing to offer, then I'm going to reject it and ask for a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
But I think the thing I've realized, and I struggled with this so much the first couple years of Dynasty, I could not get trades done at all. But it's because I was just blindly sending offers to people and not talking to them in the chat. And that's why I like Sleeper, because you can send messages and talk back and forth with people
Yeah.
and
Shout out
discuss
Sleeper.
the deal. Shout out Sleeper.
Shout out
Um,
Sleeper.
but that is what I end up doing. So um, typically, it really depends on what I'm trying to do. Am I trying to trade my own player? If I'm trying to trade one of my own players, I'll send offers to like 6 different people in the league with a message, a personalized message to each of them. Hey, looking to get rid of this guy. This is a feeler offer. I always send that out. This is kind of a feeler offer, just trying to see what your thoughts are. And maybe we could work on something. You have to understand that everybody has a specific view of their team and what they're trying to do and how they're trying to build it. So that player, let's take Jalen Hurts, for example. Jalen Hurts, although he's a great fantasy quarterback, might not be the guy that most people want as their starting quarterback on their dynasty team. And so just because I offer him that, then, they might just say, oh, no, I don't want to do that. And as a good salesman, and you should know this because you're a salesman, you don't take no for an answer and you're not rude. You just, okay, well, hey, is there anything else on my team you want? I'm looking to make a deal, just some kind of deal. And I'll tell them the players I'm interested in. What players are you interested in giving up? and it's a lot of collaboration. It's a lot of discussion. And, your first offer is almost always never going to be the one that's accepted. And so you can't be married to that offer. That offer has got to be a feeler. And really, it's just your way of getting in the door. And once you get in the door, then you can sit down in the living room and have more full discussions. But yeah, I think the other thing is I'm very willing to trade good players. And I see this a lot. In fact, I was in a league where today a guy announced in the group chat that he had like 7 or 8 players on his team that are off limits for trades. And I could just tell you right now that player will never have success with trading, just because, like, if you put that sign out your door, like open for business, except for all the good stuff, it's like, well, you obviously are just telling me that you don't want to make a deal that's fair or give me something of value. So why would I come and shop at your store? Why would I waste my time? I'm going to go down the street to somebody else who's willing to make a deal. And I love when people do that in my leagues, because then I'll post my own good players and I'll say, well, this guy's for sale, y'all come and get him. And, usually opens up conversations. But yeah, it's an art. It's a lot of back and forth. It's a lot of being flexible. And it's also like, I think, because you were talking about seeing me make a lot of trades, like all in like a row. And so there are a lot of deals where I'll foresee things. I might not like the first trade that I get, and I might lose the first trade value wise if you were to put it in a trade calculator. People might go, oh, what was that? But if I know somebody else in the league likes this player or needs this position on their team, and I'm trying to get something else, I can use that piece to move around and shift around. And I really, that's like my favorite way of playing. Like I'm trying to think of if there were any players or any trades that I made like that, where I was just shifting guys around and ended up getting value. I know I've done it, but I can't think of any off the top of my head. But, just being active in your league, being active with the other commissioners in your league, and having that conversation with them is a big deal, because once you have one good conversation, it opens the door to have future good conversations. And like, I've got some people that, you don't know the value that people have on other players. Caleb, this trade that I traded. I got Rashee Rice 2 years ago during the offseason. It was after his rookie year, and I traded Xavier Legette straight up for him. Basically, we swapped second-round picks. We swapped years. I gave him the earlier second-round pick, and he gave me a later one. But other than that, I gave him Xavier Legette for Rashee Rice. And it just shows I somehow I was just lucky and hit at the perfect time that I had a player that he liked, number one, and number two, I was offering for a player that he didn't care for, and was able to get a huge steal that got the whole league in an uproar. But if I wasn't having active conversations, I might not have never known that. And so you got to kind of, it's almost worth it to just every couple months send a message out to a few people and be like, hey, how you feel about your team? What are you thinking? Tell them what parts you like. I really like that you got Colson Loveland and Harold Fannin, tight end you over there. Ha ha ha. But I don't know. Does that answer the question?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we could sit here and talk about trade techniques and break down as many things we could. But one analyst I heard say is, like, when you're making a trade or sending a trade to someone, you should be filling a need of value for that person and for yourself. And to myself, I was going, why would I do that? Why do I care about what he's getting? I just want to fill my need. And it's just like, you're never going to complete a trade that way. If you're just looking for the piece that you want, that you need, and you already decide in your mind, these are the guys that I'm willing to part with to get what I need.
Right.
It's just not going to work. It's not at all. Like Cameron said, you need to have conversation. It's figuring out what that team is doing. They're tanking. Okay, so they're going to be valuing picks a lot more than my players. So even though I love my picks, I need to be willing to part with these picks in order to get what I want. Or whatever's going on. Like you said, finding the guys that they value. I'm not going to go offer Jared Goff to the guy who's got Jaden Daniels and Josh Allen as QBs. Like,
Right.
but it's a great trade. He's like, I don't care. I don't want Jared Goff.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a good trade on paper. It's about finding out what your league mate is wanting in exchange for,
Right.
the guy that he has that you want, and also figuring out where he values that guy as well,
Right.
so that
Right.
you can come back with the appropriate trade. I'll tell you, there are good traders and there are bad traders. And the bad traders that I've seen will go around the leagues and they will manipulate and they will just harass people until they get the guy that they want.
Yeah.
And it is so annoying and it's so infuriating. And I'm telling you, I promise, over time, your league mates are going to learn to hate you. They're going to see your message pop up on their phone as a notification, like, oh my gosh, and are just going to cringe. Their skin's going to
Yeah.
crawl and they're not going to want to do anything with you. That's not what you want. You want people to be excited to trade with you because they know that you've made good trades, that you've sent good things, that you're fair, and that you're respectable about it at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Never gloat about a trade, even if you want about it, because it looks bad to everyone else.
Yeah.
I'll admit, I've done it a couple times, but it's only because another guy was coming at me, so I had to gloat a couple times that I got
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
better end
Well, you
of the
have to.
deal.
You have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's it. That filling a need thing is a huge deal.
right.
I've made lots of trades where actually, especially in the off season, this is one thing that trips a lot of people in Dynasty is they like to look at their pretty roster and they like to see all those roster spots filled in their starting lineup. I don't really care about my starting lineup. Oh, here's a great one. Because I just made a trade earlier this offseason. Just won the championship with this league, with this team. I had Devin A. Chain and gosh, I wonder if I can pull up the other player. It was Devin A. Chain. Oh, Devin A. Chain and Travis Hunter on this team. A. Chain was
Wow.
vital to the championship run. Hunter was not, but this team was hurting on quarterback. I had Mahomes last year who was hurt for the championship run. I had to make a trade and get Matt Stafford. So I was starting Matt Stafford and Geno Smith in this league and won the championship. Still wild
That's
that I
crazy.
limped it across the line with Mahomes.
That's
But
crazy.
I had a guy offer me Jaden Daniels for Devin A. Chain and Travis Hunter. And,
Wow.
my immediate thought is this guy's an idiot because he's giving me a top 3 dynasty quarterback right now, like a young rookie who, yeah, he had a down season, but I still look at Jaden Daniels as like a solid quarterback, especially because he has such massive rushing upside.
Right.
But I did have to give up A-Chain, who's a great running back, probably a top 5 running back talent-wise overall. And Travis Hunter, another guy I really believe in. And that left 2 holes in my roster. Well, really 1 hole at running back. But you know what? I'm going to go get the value play. I'm going to go get the guy, Jaden Daniels, that really makes sense for my team, and I'll fill that running back slot later. There will be other trades that come up. There will be other things I can get, especially as we get closer to the season or even in the draft, the rookie draft. That's when people love to make trades. And so, yeah, there's plenty of time to make deals. Yeah, I think just being flexible and knowing you don't have to field a starting lineup until week 1. And so you've got plenty of time to add guys to your roster. You don't need if you have the full starting roster the whole offseason, you better have a solid team. Or, I hope you just weren't like looking at your pretty roster. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Look at this. We
Yep.
have a comment real quick. Nick Miller.
Nick Miller. Nick Miller.
Not a bad trade. I like Achan, but not a fan of Hunter. Daniels will always hold value, so you can flip them. I love that. Yeah, you're exactly right,
Yep.
Nick. I see. This is the thing: is I am a really big fan of Travis Hunter, and I think that he's a great buy in Dynasty right now because people are freaking out about the cornerback stuff. But the real thing that scared me was Achan on this Dolphins team because man. Dolphins are just going to be bad this year. I would hope that he gets traded. I just have him in a couple other leagues, and I didn't really want to deal with the headache in all those leagues, so it was easier for me to trade. But Nick, thanks for commenting, my man.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, it always
You
just makes me
do.
laugh how much like fantasy people just talk about value, building value,
Yeah.
because like in the sales world, that's that's like the go-to term, and it irritates me so much. How can
Yeah.
we uh create value?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
How
stop.
can we streamline this? I hate that
Yeah,
phrase.
okay,
How can we
streamline one.
streamline this?
How can we
But yeah, I
streamline this
mean,
one?
really, dynasties like stocks. I mean, that's what it is. You're
Yeah,
buying and flipping stocks. If you look at it like that and don't get too attached to certain ones, you'll make a you'll have a really good team. And I think that's the way I had to start viewing it, was that all these players, I love these players, but they're also just like stocks to me. And they can go up and down so fast. I mean, look at Justin Jefferson, drafted in the first round last year. He was the second receiver most of the time off the board. And he had a really bad season just due to the quarterback play. Doesn't mean he's a bad player, but he was
yeah.
more. I mean, Ashton Genty's another one. I've heard this a lot from some knuckleheads. The Ashton Genty stinks because he didn't get 1,000 yards in his rookie season, and he was drafted in the back end of the first round. And yeah, he didn't hit his value. And so what will happen year over year is these guys most of the time will not be drafted as highly as they were the previous year. And you have to figure out, okay, was this due to the player not being good, like Marvin Harrison? Because Marvin Harrison was also drafted highly. Turns
Mm,
out he's just not
good one.
that good. But a guy like Ashton Genty, we're going to find out this year that he was really good, and people were panicking for no reason. The market shifts so much. So if you're buying and selling, as things are dipping and spiking, you'll do well.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the kind of the last question I'll ask you concerning this is when do you view it as a good time to sell out of a stock, since we're kind of putting it that way. So for instance, like Marvin Harrison,
Yeah.
top three pick in our rookie draft, supposed to be generational.
Yeah.
Um, when is a good time? When would you say, okay, that's it. I got to sell him now, or I'm never going to get my value back for this guy.
Yeah. Yeah. I followed one fantasy guy a few years back who had a whole theory about this thing called ADP trends. ADP just means average draft position. And this was specifically a thing he looked at for rookies after their rookie season. So, following their rookie season, if a player's ADP trended downwards and they dropped more than like 2 rounds or something like that in ADP, he was like, they're an immediate sell. You should trade them for whatever draft picks you can get and just re-roll the dice.
Mm,
And like it's not always right. This isn't a foolproof plan. Like JSN would have been a guy you would have sold for peanuts, and I did. I sold him for peanuts because of the ADP trend thing. And he's turned out to be really good, and now he's like one of the top receivers in fantasy football. But for the most part, historically, players that have lost value within that first year by that drastic of an amount tend to be guys who don't really perform in the future historically. So really,
yeah.
that's what I look at. There's certain windows for players like, age wise, receivers. I think once they get to age like 28, 27 or 28 is a great time to sell them for what you can get from them, especially if you got to sell them high. AJ Brown is a good example of that. Like a guy you probably, if you sold him, last year or the year before, you probably were getting out of that deal with 2 first-round picks plus. And then you would have avoided his, 29-year-old season, or whatever this last season was, where it was just kind of down, and you have 2 first-round picks. Same goes for running backs. Running backs is more like 26, 27, a little younger. But yeah, I mean, really, it's feeling it out because it is hard. Like Jaden Daniels is a good example. Jaden Daniels is one of these guys that a lot of people were panic selling after last year. You know, I think the best time to sell Jaden Daniels was after his rookie season when he took the Commanders to the national championship, to the NFC conference, or the championship game in the NFC.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
wild that they made it.
yeah.
But
How
if you
insane.
sold him then, you were getting like 3 first plus, you
Yeah.
know. Um, and a guy like that's always prone to dipping. He couldn't get much higher, and his value was priced that way. Like, you're not getting 3 plus first for Josh Allen right now. And so if you
Exactly.
sold him, that's great. But now he's hurt and had a really bad season last year. You don't really want to sell him while he's on the decline, because somebody's going to offer you, maybe a first and actually 2 first. Maybe that's what they offer you. And I just think he
Yeah.
can perform more than that. I think he can bounce back really fast. And so, you live and die by the sword. Sometimes you get it right, sometimes you get it wrong. There's not really a direct way of knowing when to buy and sell. And I think it just comes with experience and willing to be flexible. You hardly ever will you regret selling like a top tier guy for lots of picks. Like,
Yeah.
if you can sell like some of these 25, 26, 27-year-old receivers for 2 to 3 firsts, like they might have 2, 3 more good years, but if you do well in the draft, you won't regret it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it's the other guys. It's
Exactly.
the Parker Washingtons you sell for a second. Oh,
Yeah. And I think I, like a lot of people, just got it wrong with JSN after his rookie year.
yeah,
It was it was like, oh, he's just not good enough to be featured in the offense as much.
right.
And it's just no, it was just it was an OC problem,
Yep,
and it was just crowded room. Because now look at
right.
DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett a year after the year of all three of them being in Seattle.
Yeah,
They're both buns,
yeah,
trash, and Jason's, considered like best in the league after his year. So it's really sitting back and being honest and like, was this the receiver's fault? Was it his QB's play's fault? Was it the OC's fault? It's just so many things that come into play. And like you said, yeah, we're gonna get it wrong a good amount of times.
yeah,
But if we react quick enough and we can make those trades and make those things happen, I think we can win a lot more trades and build a lot more value to our team. And like you said, we might lose a couple, but I think that way of thinking, you're going to win a lot more than you are going to lose.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you're not going to be losing sleep at night because you decided to trade whoever at the peak of their career.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, I can bring it full circle with this whole conversation, because you started off by talking about like, why should we do research? Why should we know
mhm.
things? And I so one of the things I've learned over the years, I drafted Kyler Murray his rookie year. I was super excited about him, had him on a lot of teams. And his first year, his rookie year, was awesome. It was phenomenal. It was a very simple offense, but Kyler played great, right? And then year 2 was abysmal. It was pretty bad. It was a bit steep decline from what he was. I know,
Yeah,
because I
rough.
traded like 4 first for him at that point in time, which is crazy.
Ah,
To you,
it was to me.
it was
Yes,
to
it
you.
was.
Yeah, you abused me. And
I
I
was
gave you
so
Jalen
excited to get
Hurts.
Kyler.
It was like
Oh
3 firsts
man,
and Jalen Hurts, wasn't it?
it
Oh,
was. It
painful,
was.
painful. It's
And
probably my worst trade I've ever done.
I had originally traded Russell Wilson and Najee Harris to get Kyler in our first.
That's crazy. So,
um,
like, from that, like, I tried to figure out what happened. One, it was probably Kyler was bad, right? But a lot of it I blamed on Cliff Kingsbury. I was like, he's got a great offense for the rookie, but it's like second year, the offense is too simple. And Jaden Daniels had the same OC. And so my thought in my head, literally going into the offseason after Jaden's rookie year, was, uh, you know, Cliff tends to do pretty bad in year 2. And this is super small sample, but I was like, I'll bet it happens again. Sell, and
oh,
I don't know if that's why Jaden didn't play well. He was hurt a lot of it. That was really the biggest part. But that's why we do research, is so we can notice trends like that.
yep,
Um,
yep, exactly.
Nick brought up that you can play Travis Hunter in IDP, points for both sides. Yeah, IDP is a very different style of play. Have you ever played IDP, Games?
I've never dabbled in IDP. I
I
probably
played
don't
him.
plan to.
I played in 2 IDP leagues because I was really excited one off season and realized I was way out of my league. I'd probably like it a little bit more now. just that I've gotten more settled with other things, but it is very hard. Like you have 11 players on offense and 11 players on defense. It is very difficult to keep track of
That's
all those guys.
insane.
And then your benches are like 30 to 40 people deep. It is unreal.
Good gosh.
And defensive scoring is way different. And you have way more guys, I feel like, who are like no name guys who played well. Just because, you might have a guy come in and be a backup, but he's playing middle linebacker and he's going to get like 14 tackles, and he's just balling out on your team. So, yeah, the other thing that made it bad was one of the guys in that league was just abusing these other people in trades, and his team was like Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, T. Higgins, like all these like all-star players with all-star running backs. Like it just wasn't fun, so I left.
Yeah,
it was also a free league.
That'd be so infuriating.
But
it's already enough trying to keep track of all the offensive players.
Oh yeah.
I try to be pretty well versed in defensive players, but golly, dude, it gets overstimulating.
Yeah,
I don't.
It really does.
I don't have enough mind for all that. Well, cool, man. That's a lot of good stuff. Obviously, if you play Dynasty, maybe you knew a lot of these things, but even for me, like that's a really good refresher to like remind me like why I play, the mindset I need to maintain and keep throughout the season, not to get hooked on things, to take the extra step and go and actually talk with my league mates about trading instead of just sending off random trades and hoping something sticks.
Yeah.
Like I said, just doesn't work. Also, the mindset to keep to, always be ready and always be aware of what's going on with the market, especially during your dynasty startup leagues, and not getting committed to one thing, not one idea, whatever it may be, to like be open to anything, just reacting to what the market is doing, zagging when they zig. Yeah, that's good stuff, man. That's really good. And so I think after this, next week we will be focusing more on the 2026 rookie class. Which maybe a little sneak peek real quick. How do you rate this rookie class 1 through 10?
Well, I mean, if you're into Dynasty at all, you already know this isn't a very good class. But I will say this is that we hear that all the time, and there's always tends to be players that are highly valuable, especially in the later rounds.
Always.
And especially in a class where most of the top end talent isn't there. Like we have a Jeremiah Love, who I think Jeremiah Love is sick. We were just debating him and Ashton Genty earlier. He's very good. Carnell Tate, Mekhi Lemon, Jordan Tyson. I think all those guys are good. I really like KC Concepcion. A couple other receivers have some interesting profiles, but there are going to be guys who go later in this draft, and because of the lack of talent up top, teams are going to be forced to play these guys. And so my theory is that, while everybody fantasy analyst is telling everybody to sell all your 2026 picks, go get your 2027 picks. Like 2027 is like this perfect class, which spoiler, it's not going to be. There's going to be down parts of it. There's going to be great parts, Jeremiah Smith.
It's going to be busts.
But there is going to be busts. There's going to be plenty opportunity for some rookie players to come in and have some playing time and opportunity. And if you've got, later round picks and, if you've got picks, I would never panic sell those picks. You're going to sell them.
Never panic sell anything.
It's a bad class, yes, but there's still value to be gained. So we'll talk a lot more about that next week. I think also just like a precursor for like the summer, like we want to talk about like Dynasty more in depth. And I know I've got another startup that will start right after the NFL draft that I'm in. And so we can check in on that, and y'all can kind of see my strategy with things. Maybe we can start a listener league. So guys, if you're watching this and you're like, hey, I really would love to learn more about Dynasty and play, or you're like, I play, but you guys would be fun to play with, leave a comment and we'll save it. We'll try to get some people together and do like a little listener league. But the other thing I'm really excited about is doing some best ball drafts. We'll talk about that when it comes, but live best ball drafts for people to watch. We can talk about all the picks. It'll give us a lot of time to talk about all kinds of players and picks and strategies and different stuff like that. So, yeah, it's going to be a really good summer with a lot of good content. So make sure you hit the subscribe button and hang out with us here at Sunday Conversations. I love that name. It's Sunday Concessions, by the way.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Cam. That was fun. We'll be back.
Cool, dude.
Please ask your questions. We are always going to come back around and hit questions and interact. I mean, the whole goal of this is to help anyone listening win your leagues. If not make playoffs, be a better fantasy player, have fun while doing it. That's the overall goal, and it's going to be a blast. We're going to do it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right. See you guys next week.
See ya.